Your most comfortable mattress owes its existence to a trip to the moon. This is the story of 28 space technologies that accidentally changed everything about life on Earth. By the end of this video, you will see the modern world around you in a completely new way. How did a quest to protect astronaut helmets lead to the glasses on your face? Why does the phone in your pocket share technology with a Mars rover? We are about to uncover the hidden links between cosmic ambition and the everyday comforts we take for granted. What do you think is the most surprising thing that came from space? The race to the stars was born from a fierce rivalry here on Earth. In the mid-20th century, two superpowers poured immense resources into a single, monumental goal, reaching beyond our atmosphere. This was not a leisurely exploration. It was a high-stakes sprint for technological supremacy, a contest that demanded solutions to problems humanity had never before faced. Out of this pressure cooker of innovation, agencies like NASA were born, their engineers tasked with the seemingly impossible. How do you keep a human alive in the vacuum of space? What materials can withstand the brutal heat of re-entry? How do you navigate a vehicle to another world? Every single answer they forged for space travel had to be invented from scratch, creating a treasure trove of new technologies. But the most fascinating part of this story is not just what left our planet. It is what stayed behind. The intense focus on overcoming the extreme challenges of radiation, zero gravity, and cosmic distances inadvertently produced a cascade of breakthroughs. These were not the primary objectives. They were unexpected byproducts, solutions in search of a problem that found their true calling not in the void of space, but in our hospitals, our cars, and our homes. This is the powerful context we need to truly appreciate the journey we are about to take, a countdown of innovations that slipped the surly bonds of Earth and quietly reshaped our world. So we have this incredible stream of innovation flowing from space, but what do we actually call these world-changing accidents? They have a name: spin-offs. A spin-off is not the main goal of a rocket launch or a moon landing. It is the secondary benefit, the unexpected gift. Imagine a team of engineers is completely focused on solving one problem, like creating a super strong fabric for a spacesuit or a tiny, powerful sensor for a Mars rover. Their brilliant solution works perfectly for the mission, but then someone else looks at that same technology and sees a completely different use for it back on Earth. That material designed to block cosmic radiation, it ends up protecting firefighters from intense heat. That miniature sensor, it becomes the heart of a medical device that saves lives in hospitals. This is the powerful ripple effect of high-stakes research. The funding poured into reaching the stars does not just vanish into the void. It circulates back to us, permeating our society in the most surprising of ways. Every time you use a product that was born from this process, you are touching a piece of that grand cosmic ambition. And this story only gets more fascinating as we count down the specific technologies that made the journey from orbit to your everyday life. That quest to protect astronauts from the brutal forces of launch and re-entry led directly to the bed you might be sleeping on tonight. In the 1960s, NASA engineers faced a critical problem: how to keep pilots and astronauts safe during violent vibrations and potential impacts. The seats in their spacecraft and aircraft needed to do more than just provide comfort. They had to absorb tremendous energy and cushion the human body against extreme pressure. The solution they developed was a remarkable new material, a viscoelastic polymer. This substance was incredibly soft and pliable, yet it possessed a unique, almost intelligent ability to respond to force and heat. It would slowly mold itself to the exact shape of whatever pressed against it, and then, just as gradually, return to its original form once the pressure was gone. This was the birth of what we now call memory foam. For years, this space-age cushioning was a specialized secret, tucked away in the seats of high-performance jets and spacecraft. But the potential for this technology on Earth was too great to ignore. Imagine the profound difference it could make for a hospital patient confined to a bed, where constant pressure on the same points of the body can lead to painful, even dangerous sores. Memory foam revolutionized this by distributing weight evenly, cradling the body and drastically reducing those pressure points. This breakthrough did not stay in hospitals. It found its way into wheelchair seats, offering new comfort and protection. It was adapted for prosthetic linings, creating a more comfortable interface between artificial limbs and the human body. And then, of course, it came home. The commercial mattress industry saw the perfect application for a material that could contour to every curve of a sleeping person, providing support that traditional springs simply could not match. Today, millions of people across the world experience more restful sleep because of a polymer originally crafted to protect explorers on their way to the stars. This single innovation proves how a solution designed for the most extreme environment imaginable can find its most profound impact in the quiet, everyday act of rest. While memory foam was reshaping how we rest, another invisible space-age shield was transforming how we see the world. The same abrasive dust that threatened astronaut vision now protects your own. In the void of space, even the smallest particles become dangerous projectiles, traveling at incredible speeds. For an astronaut on a spacewalk, a single scratch across a helmet visor could mean a catastrophic loss of visibility, a life or death situation. For sensitive equipment and optical instruments, this fine, sand-like debris posed a constant threat of damage. NASA's solution was to pioneer an incredibly tough, transparent coating, a material known as a diamond-like carbon film. This coating was applied as an ultra-thin layer, creating a surface that was many times harder than glass and remarkably resistant to abrasion. It was a perfect shield for the hazards of orbit. Back on Earth, a similar, everyday problem was causing constant frustration for anyone who wore glasses. Lenses made of glass or early plastics were notoriously soft, easily scratched by simple things like a careless drop into a bag, a cleaning with a rough cloth, or just the accumulated wear of daily life. Each tiny scratch scattered light, reducing clarity and forcing costly replacements. Eyewear manufacturers saw the potential in a diamond-hard coating. They adapted the technology, creating a clear, durable layer that could be bonded to plastic and glass lenses. This single innovation fundamentally changed the eyewear industry. Suddenly, a pair of glasses could withstand the minor abuses of everyday existence, maintaining their clarity for years instead of months. What was once a fragile necessity became a durable, long-lasting tool. Today, this scratch-resistant coating is a standard feature on nearly every pair of prescription glasses, safety goggles, and sunglasses sold worldwide. The same technology that ensured an astronaut could see the stars now ensures that you can see the world clearly, a lasting legacy from the need to protect human eyes in the unforgiving environment of space. That same need for self-sufficiency on the lunar surface would soon cut the cord for every homeowner and builder on Earth. When astronauts prepared to walk on the moon during the Apollo program, they faced a unique challenge. They needed to collect rock and soil samples, drilling deep into the unknown lunar crust. But there were no power outlets on the moon. Every piece of equipment they used had to be completely self-contained, lightweight, and powerful enough to operate in a harsh, airless environment. In partnership with NASA, the company Black & Decker developed a revolutionary tool, a cordless, battery-powered drill. This was not just a simple modification, it was a fundamental reimagining of power. Engineers had to create a new motor, design more efficient electronics, and pioneer battery technology that could deliver a tremendous amount of energy from a small, portable pack. The result was a tool that gave the Apollo astronauts the freedom to work untethered, hundreds of thousands of miles from home. Back on Earth, the implications were immediate and profound. The team at Black & Decker saw the potential to liberate workers from the limitations of the power cord. They adapted and refined the NASA-developed technology, releasing the first consumer cordless tools. Suddenly, a carpenter could work on a rooftop without dragging a long extension cord. A homeowner could easily put up shelves in the middle of a room without hunting for the nearest socket. The convenience was undeniable. This breakthrough quickly expanded beyond drills to include cordless vacuum cleaners, saws, and hedge trimmers, transforming not just professional construction sites but also everyday household chores. The ripple effect of that lunar necessity did not stop there. The core innovation, a compact, rechargeable power source driving a portable device, became the foundational blueprint for the wireless world we live in today. Can you hear the echo of that moon drill in the cordless phone in your hand, or the lightweight vacuum cleaner you push effortlessly from room to room? That initial spark of innovation, born from the absolute requirement for portable power in space, ultimately paved the way for an entire revolution in how we live and work, all because we had to cut the cord to reach the moon. The need for pure, recycled water in a sealed spacecraft became a lifeline for millions on the ground. On a mission to the moon or aboard the International Space Station, every single drop is precious. There are no rivers to tap into, no way to simply bring along all the water you will need for a journey that lasts months or even years. NASA had to solve an extreme version of a very earthly problem: how to create a closed-loop system where water could be used, cleaned, and reused with absolute reliability. The solution was a suite of advanced filtration and purification technologies. They developed compact systems that could remove even the most minute contaminants, and they pioneered the use of iodine as a highly effective, stable disinfectant to ensure no dangerous microbes could survive in the water supply. This was not just about convenience, it was about survival in an environment where a single waterborne illness could spell disaster for an entire crew. The brilliance of this system was its efficiency and power, qualities that did not go unnoticed back on Earth. Municipal water treatment plants began to adopt these space-age methods to provide cleaner drinking water to entire cities, more effectively removing harmful bacteria and chemical pollutants. The technology was also scaled down, leading to the portable water filters that today are essential gear for hikers and adventurers, allowing them to safely drink from remote streams and lakes. Even your local swimming pool likely uses a descendant of this technology, employing similar purification to reduce the amount of harsh chemicals like chlorine needed to keep the water safe. This transfer of knowledge from spaceship to society has had a profound and deeply human impact. By making advanced water purification more accessible and effective, this space-derived innovation has become a quiet, powerful force in the global fight against waterborne diseases, helping to protect communities and ecosystems from pollution. The very same process that allows an astronaut to take a safe drink while orbiting our planet now helps ensure a child can do the same from a tap at home. The same durable ceramic that once tracked missiles now guides teeth into place completely unseen. In the heat of the space race, NASA needed materials that could withstand extreme conditions, not just in the void of space but also on the ground. Missile tracking systems required incredibly tough, heat-resistant components for their delicate sensors. Government-sponsored research led to the development of a remarkable new ceramic called translucent polycrystalline alumina, or TPA. This material was a marvel of engineering, possessing the strength to protect sensitive equipment from intense stress and high temperatures, all while allowing certain wavelengths of light to pass through it. It was a shield that could also see. Years later, an enterprising orthodontist saw this space-age ceramic not as a component for defense, but as a potential solution for a very personal human challenge. For generations, straightening teeth meant a mouth full of highly visible metal brackets and wires, an aesthetic that caused self-consciousness for countless teenagers and adults. What if the durable, translucent TPA could be adapted into a clear, strong bracket? This single insight sparked a revolution in dental care. The ceramic was perfectly suited for the task. It was robust enough to withstand the constant pressures of shifting teeth, and its translucent quality made it far less noticeable than metal. This breakthrough gave rise to the entire category of invisible braces, a technology later commercialized by companies like Invisalign with their series of clear, removable aligners. The impact on everyday life has been profound. Millions of people have undergone orthodontic treatment with a new sense of confidence, no longer feeling the need to hide their smile during the process. A material forged for the high-stakes world of aerospace defense found its ultimate purpose in the quiet, personal journey of a patient seeking a healthier, more beautiful smile. It is a perfect fusion of brute strength and delicate artistry, a hidden piece of the space program working to reveal the best in all of us. The same digital techniques that brought the moon's surface into sharp focus for scientists would soon peer just as deeply into the human body. Space probes like the Lunar Orbiter were tasked with mapping our celestial neighbor, but their initial images were often grainy and lacked detail. To analyze the moon's craters and plains, NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory pioneered advanced computer algorithms designed to clean up these pictures. They developed methods to enhance contrast, reduce noise, and sharpen blurry edges, transforming raw data into clear, usable maps of another world. This process, known as digital image processing, was the key that unlocked a medical revolution. Researchers and doctors quickly realized that if a computer could clarify a photograph of a distant crater, it could also interpret data to see inside a living person without a single incision. This insight led directly to the invention of the computed tomography scan, or CT scan. This machine takes thousands of X-ray measurements from different angles and uses those same space-borne processing techniques to construct a detailed, cross-sectional image of the body's interior. Suddenly, physicians could pinpoint tumors, locate internal bleeding, and identify fractures with unprecedented clarity. The innovation did not stop there. The underlying principle of using computers to assemble complex data into a visual map was further developed into magnetic resonance imaging, or MRI. This technology uses powerful magnets and radio waves to create incredibly detailed pictures of our soft tissues, from the brain's delicate wiring to the ligaments in a knee. What began as a way to scrutinize the dusty surface of the moon became the foundation for the most vital diagnostic tools in modern medicine. These machines are now staples in hospitals worldwide, saving millions of lives through early and accurate detection. Every time a doctor orders a scan to find a hidden illness, they are using a direct descendant of the technology that first helped humanity choose a safe landing site on another world. The same foam that protected an astronaut's head from the violent jolts of a rocket launch now cushions every step you take. While engineers were perfecting the helmet liners for space missions, they created a special shock-absorbing polymer. This material had one critical job: to dissipate immense energy, soaking up the powerful G-forces so they would not injure the person inside the suit. It was a matter of safety in the most extreme environment imaginable. Back on Earth, a different kind of impact was causing its own problems. Runners and athletes faced a constant, repetitive pounding on hard pavement, a strain that could lead to serious joint pain and injuries over time. The athletic company Nike saw the potential in NAS advanced cushioning. They adapted this space-age foam, incorporating it into the soles of their running shoes. The result was a revolution in athletic footwear. Suddenly, a runner's stride was met with a soft, responsive landing that dramatically reduced the stress on knees and ankles. This was not just about comfort, it was about performance and protection. The technology quickly spread from elite athletes to everyday walkers, becoming a standard feature in sneakers across the globe. That initial spark of innovation, born from the need to survive a rocket's ascent, found its true calling in the simple, repeated act of a foot hitting the ground. It is a hidden layer of cosmic engineering, a direct link between the explosive power of a launch and the gentle support in your every step. The invisible power that keeps a satellite humming in the dark void also fuels the lights in a remote village. While the basic principle of turning sunlight into electricity was known long before the space age, the solar cells of the mid-20th century were fragile, inefficient, and prohibitively expensive. They were a laboratory curiosity, not a practical power source. For NASA, this was an unacceptable limitation. Satellites and deep space probes like the Voyager missions needed a reliable, long-lasting energy supply to operate their instruments and communicate with Earth. There were no other options, no power lines to plug into beyond our atmosphere. This absolute necessity forced the agency to pour immense resources into perfecting photovoltaic technology. Engineers had to make solar cells radically more efficient at converting sunlight into power. They had to make them incredibly durable, capable of surviving the violent shaking of a rocket launch, and then enduring years of bombardment by cosmic radiation and extreme temperature swings in space. They experimented with new materials and protective coatings, creating cells that were both lighter and far more resilient. This relentless drive for performance in the most demanding environment possible is what transformed solar power from a niche idea into a viable technology. The advancements pioneered for satellites did not stay in orbit. They began to trickle down to Earth, making panels more affordable and reliable for everyday use. The same high-efficiency cells that powered a Mars rover now sit on residential rooftops, reducing dependence on the electrical grid. The durable designs developed for space are adapted for commercial solar farms that generate clean power for thousands of homes. Perhaps most profoundly, this space-borne technology has brought electricity to the most isolated communities on our planet. Remote clinics can now refrigerate vaccines. Villages without access to traditional power lines can have light at night and power for schools. This is the powerful, double-sided legacy of NASA solar research. It not only unlocked the solar system for exploration, but also provided a critical tool in the fight against climate change here at home. The quest for power in the void directly accelerated the green energy movement, giving us a cleaner, more sustainable way to power our world. The stars themselves gave us the tool to take a child's temperature with a single, gentle click. For centuries, astronomy has been a science of observation, of measuring the faint light and heat from impossibly distant celestial bodies. To determine the temperature of a star or the frigid chill of a distant planet, scientists developed exquisitely sensitive infrared sensors. These devices did not need to touch the object they were measuring. They simply detected the invisible thermal radiation, the heat signature that every object emits. This was a perfect solution for studying the cosmos from millions of miles away. The challenge for NASA and other researchers was to make these large, complex instruments smaller, more robust, and more affordable for space missions. This process of miniaturization and refinement created a powerful new class of sensor technology. It was a medical doctor who saw the profound human potential in this cosmic tool. He realized that the human body, much like a star, emits infrared energy. The eardrum, in particular, shares blood supply with the brain's temperature control center, making it an incredibly accurate point to measure core body temperature. By adapting the space-borne infrared sensor, he created the first oral thermometer. This was a revolution in patient care. Gone was the uncomfortable and sometimes dangerous wait with a glass thermometer under the tongue, especially for a restless, feverish child. The new device could provide a precise reading in just 1 or 2 seconds, with a simple, non-invasive placement at the ear canal. The benefits extended beyond comfort and speed. It was also far more hygienic, eliminating the risk of cross-contamination that came with reusable thermometers. Today, these quick-click thermometers are a staple in homes, pediatricians' offices, and hospitals around the world. A technology crafted to understand the furnace-like heart of a distant sun now helps a parent comfort a sick child in the middle of the night, a quiet and caring bridge between the vastness of the cosmos and the intimacy of home. The very process of preserving a meal for a year-long journey to Mars now sits in your kitchen cupboard. For astronauts on early space missions, food presented a critical puzzle. It had to be incredibly lightweight to save precious launch weight, compact to fit into tiny storage areas, and utterly resistant to spoilage for months at a time. Canned goods were far too heavy. Traditional dehydration often destroyed flavor and vital nutrients. NASA turned to a centuries-old technique and perfected it for the modern age, freeze-drying. This intricate process begins by freezing the food solid. Then, in a vacuum chamber, the pressure is lowered dramatically, and just enough heat is applied for the frozen water inside the food to transform directly from ice into vapor, completely skipping the liquid phase. This sublimation leaves behind a perfectly preserved, bone-dry structure that retains almost all of its original nutritional value, shape, and most importantly, its taste. All the moisture is gone, but the soul of the food remains, waiting for a little water to bring it back to life. The commercial potential of this space-age preservation was immediately obvious. Imagine being able to carry a complete, nutritious meal in your pocket on a week-long backpacking trip, needing only a stream of water to reconstitute a hot stew. This became the foundation for the entire industry of lightweight camping and emergency foods, but the influence of freeze-drying did not stop there. It revolutionized instant coffee, allowing the complex aromas of the bean to be captured and stored for years. It gave us the crunchy berries in our breakfast cereals and the lightweight ingredients in military MREs, or meals ready to eat. Most profoundly, this technology has become a cornerstone of disaster relief. When an earthquake or hurricane strikes and supply lines are shattered, pallets of freeze-dried meals can be air-dropped into isolated communities, providing immediate, safe, and nourishing food that requires no refrigeration and very little preparation. The same meal packet that sustained an astronaut floating in zero gravity can now sustain a family whose world has been turned upside down, a powerful testament to how a solution for deep space exploration became a vital tool for survival right here on Earth. The same vigilance that protected astronauts in a sealed metal can now stand guard in your home. When NASA built its first space station, Skylab, it created an environment where fire was a nightmare scenario. The air inside was rich with oxygen, and every surface was packed with electronics and wiring. A single spark in that confined, isolated habitat could become a catastrophic blaze in seconds. There was no way to open a window, no fire department to call. Survival depended on the earliest possible warning. NASA engineers needed a smoke detector that was far more than a simple alarm. It had to be incredibly sensitive, able to sniff out the faintest trace of smoke particles from an electrical fire before it could rage out of control. It also had to be adjustable, able to tell the difference between the harmless steam from a rehydrating meal and the dangerous smoke from an overheating wire. The device they perfected used a tiny, radioactive element to ionize the air inside a small chamber. When smoke particles entered, they disrupted the electrical current, triggering the alarm. This was a leap forward in precision and reliability. Back on Earth, the potential for this technology was immediately clear. Home smoke alarms existed, but they were primitive and prone to false alarms. The space-age sensor was adapted for residential use, creating a device that was both more trustworthy and more sensitive. This innovation did not stop there. Engineers realized the same core technology could be adapted to detect another silent, invisible killer, carbon monoxide. This odorless, poisonous gas can seep from a faulty furnace or a blocked chimney, putting entire families at risk while they sleep. By incorporating a specialized electrochemical sensor, the modern combination detector was born. It became a dual guardian, watching for both the visible threat of smoke and the invisible threat of poison gas. Today, building codes in countless cities and towns require these devices in every home. They are a fundamental, non-negotiable feature of modern safety, a direct result of the need to protect human life in the most vulnerable of environments. Every soft chirp confirming its battery, every piercing shriek that gives a family precious minutes to escape, is an echo from the careful, fearful planning for a space station orbiting high above the Earth. A technology born from the terror of a fire in the void now stands as a silent, watchful protector in our halls and bedrooms, saving thousands of lives each year. The same robotic precision that guided a rover across the alien soil of Mars now helps a person grasp a coffee cup here on Earth. NASA's relentless drive to explore other worlds required a new kind of machinery, one that could operate with a delicate touch millions of miles away. Engineers developed sophisticated robotic arms and servo mechanisms for spacecraft, devices that needed to be incredibly strong yet capable of fine, responsive movements. This research into advanced robotics and remote control became an unexpected gift for biomedical engineers. They realized the same principles that allowed a rover's arm to collect a rock sample could be adapted to create more natural and responsive artificial limbs. Early prosthetics were often simple, passive hooks, offering limited function and a clumsy, unnatural feel. The space-derived technology changed everything. New prosthetic arms could incorporate myoelectric sensors that detect the subtle electrical signals from a user's remaining muscles. These signals are then processed by miniaturized computers, directing small, powerful servo motors to rotate a wrist or open and close a hand with a fluidity that had never before been possible. It is a seamless conversation between human intention and mechanical execution. But the revolution was not just in the movement, it was also in the connection to the body. The same shock-absorbing foams developed to cushion astronauts inside their spacesuits were integrated into the socket where the prosthetic limb meets the human body. This drastically improved comfort, reducing the painful chafing and pressure points that had long been a problem. Lightweight composite materials, originally created to reduce the weight of spacecraft without sacrificing strength, made it possible to build limbs that were both incredibly durable and easy to wear all day. The impact on everyday life is profound. An individual who has lost an arm can now tie their shoes, type on a keyboard, or hold a child's hand with a renewed sense of independence and grace. These are not just tools, they are extensions of the person, restoring a fundamental sense of capability. This is the human legacy of interplanetary ambition, a perfect fusion of cosmic engineering and earthly compassion, where the mechanics built to touch another world now help a person more fully engage with their own. A technology designed to guide a missile with cold precision now tells you when to turn left at the next traffic light. The global positioning system was born from a military need for unwavering accuracy, a network of satellites that could provide exact coordinates for submarines, aircraft, and weapons anywhere on the globe. This was a strategic asset, a hidden map in the sky maintained for national security. Yet, the potential for this system was far too vast to remain locked away. The same satellite signals that could steer a warship through a storm could also guide a cargo ship into a port or direct a lost hiker back to a trail. The decision to open this technology for civilian use unleashed a wave of innovation that has fundamentally rewired our relationship with geography. It began with dedicated devices for cars and boats, but the true revolution arrived when this space-based navigation was miniaturized and integrated into the smartphone. Suddenly, a pocket-sized computer could tap into a constellation of satellites and place you with astonishing accuracy on a dynamic map of the entire world. This is more than just a convenience for finding the quickest route home from work. It has reshaped entire industries. Emergency services can now locate a frantic caller in the wilderness within meters, saving crucial minutes in a rescue. The global logistics network depends entirely on GPS to track a package from a warehouse on one continent to a doorstep on another, creating a transparent, efficient flow of goods that powers the modern economy. Ride-sharing apps, food delivery, and even dating services all rely on this foundational technology to connect people and places in real time. We no longer just use maps, we live within a living, breathing digital landscape that is constantly aware of our position. The profound impact is not just in how we move, but in how we connect, work, and stay safe, all guided by a system that was first conceived to navigate the highest stakes of global conflict and cosmic exploration. Astronauts floating in their capsules needed to talk without being tied down by wires. In the cramped, weightless environment of a spacecraft, a dangling cord was more than an inconvenience. It was a potential hazard, something that could snag on a critical switch or float into an experiment. Clear, instantaneous communication was a matter of mission success and crew safety. To solve this, NASA partnered with industry to pioneer the first truly reliable, lightweight wireless communication systems. These early devices were marvels of engineering, designed to filter out background noise and maintain a crisp, stable connection in the most electrically noisy and physically demanding environment imaginable. The foundational work on these robust, short-range radio links became the direct precursor to the technology we now call Bluetooth. The name may have come from a 10th-century Viking king, but its capabilities were forged in the vacuum of space. This invisible bridge, once used to coordinate a spacewalk outside the International Space Station, now effortlessly connects your phone to your car, allowing you to take a call while keeping your hands on the wheel and your eyes on the road. It syncs your earbuds to your laptop for a crystal-clear conference call, freeing you to move around your home office. It creates a personal, wireless bubble of music during a commute or a workout, untethered from the device in your pocket. This is the invisible legacy of space-age communication, a technology that liberated the human voice from its physical leash. It transformed not just how we work and drive, but how we experience sound itself, granting us a new kind of auditory freedom that began with a simple, critical need for an astronaut to have both hands free while talking to mission control. The same reflective barrier that keeps a satellite from freezing or overheating in the void now lines the walls of a quiet suburban home. Space is a place of brutal extremes where a spacecraft in direct sunlight can be seared on one side while the opposite side plunges into a deep, shadowed freeze. To protect sensitive electronics and maintain a stable environment for astronauts, NASA engineers developed incredibly efficient insulation. They created thin, lightweight sheets often made of aluminum-coated polyester, a material that acts like a brilliant mirror for thermal energy. Instead of just slowing down heat transfer like traditional bulky insulation, this radiant barrier actively reflects radiated heat, bouncing it away from the spacecraft's hull. It was a dynamic shield against the raw power of the sun and the absolute cold of space. This space-age solution did not take long to find a critical application back on Earth, in our very own attics and walls. Here, the enemy is not the void of space, but the constant battle against the weather. In summer, a roof baked by the sun radiates intense heat downward, forcing air conditioners to work overtime. In winter, precious warmth from a furnace escapes through the same surfaces, driving up heating bills. Builders began to install this reflective insulation, creating a simple yet powerful thermal barrier. By lining an attic with this material, it reflects up to 97% of the radiant heat trying to enter the home, dramatically reducing the cooling load. The same principle works in reverse during cold months, helping to trap warmth inside. The impact of this adaptation is both personal and planetary. For a homeowner, it translates directly into lower monthly utility bills and a more consistently comfortable living space. But on a larger scale, the widespread adoption of radiant barriers in construction represents a massive leap in energy efficiency. When millions of buildings require less energy to heat and cool, the collective reduction in power plant emissions is staggering. This single innovation, born from the need to manage temperature in orbit, has become a cornerstone of sustainable building practices, a quiet force in the fight against climate change. The same sheet of material that once protected a satellite from the sun's fury now helps protect our planet by simply helping us use less of its resources, a perfect example of cosmic engineering applied to earthly stewardship. The quest to sustain human life on a voyage to Mars has left its mark on the very first meals of life here on Earth. While searching for a compact, renewable food source for astronauts, NASA sponsored research into an unlikely candidate, algae. Scientists were examining various strains, analyzing their potential to be grown efficiently in a closed spacecraft environment, providing both oxygen and nutrition. Within one particular type of algae, they discovered a remarkable treasure, an exceptionally rich source of an omega-3 fatty acid called docosahexaenoic acid, or DHA. This was not just any nutrient, it is a primary structural component of the human brain and retinas, absolutely essential for healthy neural and visual development in infants. For decades, while breast milk naturally contained DHA, it was a nutrient that was notoriously difficult to incorporate into infant formula. The discovery of this algae-based source changed everything. It was a safe, sustainable, and highly effective way to fortify formula, allowing manufacturers to create a nutritional profile that much more closely mirrored nature's own design. This accidental breakthrough from a space biology lab has since been integrated into infant formulas across the globe, supporting healthy brain growth and visual acuity in millions of newborns during the most critical stage of their development. It is a profound connection where research aimed at pushing the boundaries of human existence in the cosmos ended up nurturing the very start of life itself, a quiet promise from the stars helping to build young minds. The relentless chill of deep space and the furnace-like heat of direct sunlight demanded a second skin for astronauts. Inside their pressurized suits, the human body still had to contend with its own environment, a constant output of heat and moisture. Without a way to manage perspiration, an astronaut on a spacewalk could face two equally dangerous extremes, shivering from damp cold or overheating from trapped humidity. NASA, in partnership with the textile industry, engineered a new generation of fabrics. These were not just layers of cloth, they were active climate control systems. Their core innovation was a capillary action, using tiny channels within the synthetic fibers to literally pull moisture away from the skin and spread it across a wide surface area where it could evaporate into the suit's ventilation system with incredible speed. This kept the astronaut's skin remarkably dry and thermally regulated, a critical safeguard during hours of strenuous work in the void. The leap from the spacesuit to the running track was almost immediate. Athletic apparel companies recognized that a runner, a football player, or a cyclist faced a similar, if less deadly, version of the same problem. Traditional cotton shirts would become soaked with sweat, clinging heavily to the body, causing chafing, and leaving an athlete feeling cold and weighed down. The new space-age fabrics offered a radical solution. Brands like Under Armour pioneered this adaptation, creating shirts and shorts that actively wicking moisture. During intense exertion, these garments pull sweat away from your skin to the outer layer of the fabric, where it can evaporate rapidly. This does more than just keep you dry. It allows your body to cool itself efficiently, preventing overheating and maintaining a stable core temperature. The impact on performance was transformative. Professional athletes gained a tangible edge, able to train longer and recover faster. But the true revolution was for everyone else. The weekend warrior, the gym enthusiast, the person going for a brisk morning walk, all experienced a new level of comfort and endurance. This space-borne technology fundamentally changed the very texture of athletic activity, turning what was often a soggy, uncomfortable chore into a drier, more manageable, and more enjoyable pursuit. The same microscopic channels that once protected an astronaut from the harsh climate of space now ensure that a simple sweatband can do its job better. A clear line from the extreme demands of orbital survival to the everyday triumphs of personal fitness. A spacecraft returning to Earth touches down at tremendous speed, its tires meeting a runway that could be slick with rain. For NASA, this was not a minor risk, it was a potential catastrophe. A pilot landing the space shuttle had no second chance, no option to abort and try again if the vehicle began to skid uncontrollably across a water-covered surface, a phenomenon known as hydroplaning. The solution they engineered was deceptively simple, yet revolutionary. They began cutting a precise grid of thin, shallow channels directly into the concrete of the landing strips. These grooves, each no wider than your finger, acted like a network of miniature aqueducts. As a tire met the wet surface, the water was violently squeezed out from the contact patch and instantly channeled away through these narrow trenches, allowing the rubber to bite into the solid pavement beneath. The grip was restored in an instant. The dramatic improvement in safety was so undeniable that the aviation world took immediate notice. Major international airports around the globe began retrofitting their own runways with this exact grooving technique. The same system that ensured a space shuttle could stop safely now gave commercial airliners a crucial margin of safety during a stormy landing, protecting hundreds of passengers with every touchdown. But the application of this space-age innovation did not stop at the airport fence. transportation engineers realized that the same physics applied to a family car speeding down a rain-slicked highway. They adapted the grooving technology for use on treacherous stretches of road, particularly on curves and exit ramps where cars were most likely to lose control. Today, you have likely driven over these grooved pavements countless times, feeling the subtle hum and the secure grip without ever knowing their origin. This is the quiet, pervasive legacy of a technology designed for the most dramatic of landings, a direct transfer of safety from the shuttle's final descent to your daily commute, saving countless lives by ensuring that a wet surface is no longer a slick and deadly barrier. Even the food on your dinner plate passed through a safety net first woven for astronauts. In the void of space, a simple case of food poisoning is not just an inconvenience, it is a potential mission killer. With no hospital to turn to, a bout of sickness could jeopardize a multi-billion-dollar mission and endanger an entire crew. This absolute zero tolerance for risk forced NASA to completely reimagine food safety. They moved beyond the old method of spot-checking finished products, which was like closing the barn door after the horse had already bolted. Instead, they pioneered a proactive, systematic approach called Hazard Analysis and Critical Control Points, or HACCP. This was not about inspecting for problems at the end of the line. It was about designing the entire production process to prevent problems from ever occurring in the first place. The system works by meticulously mapping the entire journey of a food item, from its raw ingredients to its final packaged form. At every single step, engineers and scientists ask a critical question: what could possibly go wrong here? They identify the specific points where contamination or other hazards could occur, the critical control points. Then, they establish strict limits for things like temperature and time, along with continuous monitoring and detailed record-keeping to ensure those limits are never breached. If a deviation occurs, the problem is caught and corrected immediately, long before the product is ever sealed. The power of this method was so undeniable that it did not stay confined to the space program for long. In the 1990s, its adoption became mandatory for the meat, poultry, and juice industries in the United States, and it quickly became the global gold standard. Today, when you buy a package of ground beef, the processor has used HACCP to ensure it is free of dangerous bacteria like E. coli. When you drink a carton of pasteurized milk, its safety was guaranteed by this same space-borne protocol. The system has been adapted for everything from canned soups to fresh produce, creating a seamless web of prevention that stretches from the farm to the supermarket shelf. This fundamental shift from reactive inspection to proactive control has been one of the most significant public health advancements of the modern era, dramatically reducing the incidence of foodborne illnesses and saving countless lives. A framework born from the dire need to protect a handful of explorers in orbit now silently safeguards the meals of billions, a profound legacy where cosmic caution ensures our most basic earthly sustenance remains safe. That same need to rehearse the unknown in a safe environment created the foundations for entire digital worlds, long before a consumer could strap on a headset to explore a fantasy landscape. NASA was grappling with a very practical problem. How do you train an astronaut to dock a spacecraft moving at thousands of miles per hour, or to perform a complex repair during a spacewalk, when you can only simulate these things on the ground? The answer was to build the most advanced simulators possible, immersive systems that used early head-mounted displays and motion tracking to create a realistic, three-dimensional virtual environment. This was not about entertainment, it was about survival, a way to build muscle memory and procedural knowledge for scenarios where a single mistake could be catastrophic. The research into these systems, particularly at NASA Ames Research Center, pushed the boundaries of computer graphics, real-time rendering, and user interface design. They were creating a new language of human-computer interaction, one where you did not just look at a screen, you stepped inside it. This foundational work became the bedrock upon which the modern virtual reality industry was built. The leap from astronaut training to the consumer electronics shelf was a long one, but the core principles remained the same: a headset that tracks your head movements, stereoscopic screens that create a sense of depth, and a computer that renders a responsive world around you. Today, that legacy is everywhere. A gamer can find themselves transported to an alien planet, not just watching a story unfold but actively inhabiting it. An architecture student can walk through a building that has not yet been constructed, identifying design flaws before a single brick is laid. But perhaps the most profound applications are in medicine and therapy. Surgeons now practice complex procedures in a risk-free virtual space, honing their skills without a real patient on the table. Physical therapists use VR to create engaging rehabilitation exercises for patients recovering from a stroke, turning repetitive motions into a rewarding game. Psychologists employ controlled virtual environments to help people confront and manage phobias like a fear of heights from the absolute safety of an office chair. This technology, born from the necessity of preparing the human mind and body for the profound disorientation of space, has become a powerful tool for healing and learning right here on Earth. It expanded our very definition of experience, allowing us to visit places that are too dangerous, too expensive, or simply impossible to reach in the physical world, all because we first needed to practice walking in the void. The same fibers that gently lowered a lander onto the rust-colored soil of Mars now give your car a firmer grip on a rain-slicked road. When NASA engineered the Viking mission, every component had to be perfect, especially the parachutes that would slow the spacecraft's fiery descent through the thin Martian atmosphere. The shrouds, the lines connecting the parachute to the lander, had to be incredibly strong yet lightweight, able to withstand brutal deployment forces without snapping. To achieve this, scientists developed a remarkable new material called chemglaze, a fibrous, synthetic fabric that was impregnated with a specially formulated rubber compound. This combination created lines that were not just strong, but also exceptionally resistant to abrasion, heat, and the relentless wear of friction. They were, in essence, the ultimate cord, designed for a single, flawless performance on another world. Back on Earth, this innovation did not go unnoticed. Tire manufacturers were locked in their own perpetual battle against wear and tear. The constant friction of rubber meeting pavement, combined with exposure to sunlight, oil, and ozone, caused tires to harden, crack, and lose their grip over time. Engineers saw the potential in NASA chemglaze formula. By adapting that space-age rubber compound and integrating its synthetic fibers into their own designs, they created a new generation of tires. The result was a rubber that was fundamentally tougher and more resilient. These new tires did not just last longer, saving drivers money and reducing waste. They also maintained their pliability and grip for many more thousands of miles. This improved traction translated directly into safer braking distances on wet roads, a quiet but crucial enhancement to everyday driving. And because a harder-working, longer-lasting tire creates less rolling resistance, it also contributed to better fuel efficiency, reducing emissions with every tank of gas. So the next time your car holds the road securely through a curve, or you realize your tires have lasted for years instead of months, you are experiencing a small, durable gift from a mission that touched down on Mars decades ago. A technology crafted for a single, dramatic descent now provides millions of us with a safer, smoother, and more efficient journey, mile after mile. the immense calculations required to guide a spacecraft to the moon could not be handled by a room-sized mainframe back on Earth. Every mission needed a brain on board, a compact computer capable of making split-second decisions in the harsh environment of space. This absolute necessity forced engineers to pioneer the miniaturization of electronics, squeezing more processing power onto smaller and smaller circuit boards, while also developing energy-efficient systems that could run for days on limited battery reserves. These were not just smaller computers, they were a new class of robust, portable processing power. The groundbreaking work on systems like the Apollo guidance computer proved that powerful computation could be liberated from the sterile confines of a data center. It demonstrated that a computer could be a trusted partner in the most critical of tasks, even when it was vibrating atop a giant rocket. This philosophy and the underlying technological advances did not stay in orbit. They became the direct ancestors of the first portable computers, the so-called luggables that gave businesses their first taste of mobile data. The relentless drive for smaller, faster, and more efficient chips, fueled by the space program's demands, is the very same trajectory that led to the laptop in your bag and the smartphone in your pocket. The modern world runs on a simple, profound truth that immense computational power can be carried anywhere. This shift has rewired society, allowing a student in a remote village to access a global library of knowledge, a doctor to review a patient's records from their home, and a family to share a moment across continents through a video call. The device you use to navigate your day, to connect and to create, contains a direct technological lineage to the compact computers that first navigated the void, solving data challenges in zero gravity to ultimately connect all of humanity. A technology designed to propel rockets beyond our atmosphere now works to remove deadly hazards buried deep within the Earth. This profound transformation began with a practical challenge: how to safely dispose of excess or aging rocket fuel. The substance itself, a powerful solid propellant, was difficult to handle and posed a significant risk if left unstable. NASA-sponsored research aimed to find a way to neutralize this volatile material, to convert it into something inert and safe. The solution they helped develop was a special flare, a device that could burn the fuel in a slow, controlled, and incredibly hot manner. This was not an explosion, but a precise and intense incineration. It was a team of humanitarian engineers who saw a different, life-saving potential in this space-age tool. They realized that the same controlled, ultra-hot burn could be applied to a landmine. When one of these flares is placed on a buried mine and ignited, it does not trigger the main explosive charge. Instead, it burns through the metal casing and burns away the explosives inside at a temperature so high that the mine is simply consumed, rendered completely inert. This method is remarkably safe for the operators, who can initiate the flare from a distance, and it leaves no toxic residue to poison the soil. The impact in post-conflict regions has been profound. Vast tracts of land, once rendered useless and lethal by hidden mines, are being cleared and returned to communities. Farmers can once again plow their fields without fear. Children can walk to school along paths that were previously death traps. This is the ultimate repurposing of a technology, a journey from the explosive power needed to escape Earth's gravity to a controlled burn that restores the ground beneath our feet. A tool born from the ambition of cosmic exploration has become an instrument of peace, healing the scars of conflict and quietly saving countless lives. The air inside a spacecraft is a delicate, life-giving bubble that cannot be refreshed by an open window. Every breath an astronaut takes is a breath that must be scrubbed clean and recycled, a closed loop where trace amounts of chemicals from plastics, cleaning agents, and even human metabolism can slowly accumulate to dangerous levels. NASA had to confront this invisible threat, developing systems that could continuously strip the air of volatile organic compounds and eliminate airborne microbes. Their solution was as elegant as it was effective, a process called photocatalytic oxidation. Imagine a substance that acts like an artificial leaf. When a special catalyst is exposed to light, it triggers a powerful reaction that breaks down harmful pollutants and bacteria at a molecular level, converting them into harmless amounts of water vapor and carbon dioxide. It is a silent, continuous purification that leaves no chemical residue behind. This space-age cleansing technology did not remain locked in the capsule. It has been adapted into commercial air purifiers that now operate in some of the most critical environments on Earth. In hospitals, these units help protect vulnerable patients by reducing airborne pathogens in operating rooms and recovery wards. In office buildings, they clear out the stale, chemical-laden air often referred to as sick building syndrome, leading to sharper focus and fewer employee absences. And in our own homes, these advanced purifiers work tirelessly to remove common allergens like pet dander and dust mite debris, while also neutralizing odors and the invisible off-gassing from furniture, paints, and household cleaners. For a family dealing with asthma or allergies, this can mean the difference between restless nights and restful sleep. The same meticulous process that ensures an astronaut aboard the International Space Station breathes easily is now working to give a child a clearer breath in their own bedroom, transforming the sealed environment of a home into a sanctuary of health, all thanks to a system designed to survive the ultimate confinement. The same tiny sensor that kept watch over an astronaut's heart in the silent void of space now pulses on the wrist of a runner in a city park. Monitoring the human body in zero gravity presented a unique challenge for NASA. They needed to track vital signs like heart rate with absolute reliability, but bulky hospital equipment was impossible to fit inside a cramped capsule or suit. This drove the miniaturization of sophisticated biosensors, creating devices that were small, lightweight, and incredibly power efficient, capable of providing continuous, real-time data on an astronaut's physiological state. It was a silent, digital guardian for explorers in an environment where any health anomaly could have dire consequences. The leap to terrestrial use was almost inevitable. Athletic coaches and sports scientists saw the potential immediately. Why guess at an athlete's exertion level when you could have a precise, numerical readout of their heart's response to stress? The first wearable heart rate monitors adapted this space-age technology, giving runners and cyclists immediate feedback. This was a revolution in training. An athlete could now ensure they were working in the optimal heart rate zone to build endurance, rather than pushing into a dangerous red line or not training hard enough to see improvement. The technology quickly evolved from dedicated chest straps to the sleek fitness trackers and smartwatches worn by millions today. These devices do more than just count beats. They track trends in cardiovascular fitness, monitor sleep quality, and can even alert the user to potential health issues like an unusually high resting heart rate. This has fundamentally shifted our relationship with personal health. A weakened hiker can now pace themselves on a steep trail, a new parent can track their stress levels, and a heart patient can share precise data with their doctor. This empowerment, this ability to listen to the subtle language of our own bodies, began with the critical need to listen to the hearts of those who ventured farthest from home. A technology designed to safeguard human life in the most alien of environments has returned to Earth, giving every one of us the power to be the guardian of our own well-being. That same diamond hard shield for astronaut visors now protects the screen you are likely looking at right now. The relentless drive to safeguard delicate optics from space dust created a material so durable, its earthly applications were almost limitless. While scratch-resistant coatings became standard for eyewear, engineers soon realized this technology could defend a whole new generation of fragile surfaces. The sleek glass on a smartphone, the crystal of a wristwatch, the high-gloss paint on a car, all of these are constantly exposed to the minor abrasions of daily life, from keys in a pocket to fine grit on a cleaning cloth. By bonding NAS, a diamond-like carbon film, to these surfaces, manufacturers created a nearly invisible suit of armor. Your phone can slide in and out of your bag countless times without becoming a web of fine scratches. The face of a watch can withstand accidental bumps against a doorframe, preserving its pristine look for years. Even a car's finish gains a resilience against swirling marks from automatic car washes and blowing sand. This is more than a simple convenience, it is a profound shift in sustainability. When our most used possessions can resist the wear and tear of everyday existence, they do not need to be replaced as often. This reduction in waste, from discarded phones to refinished cars, represents a quiet but significant environmental benefit. The longevity of our tools saves resources and reduces the financial burden of constant maintenance or premature replacement. It is a perfect echo of the original purpose, to protect a critical piece of equipment in an environment where repair was impossible. The same philosophy that guarded a helmet visor against micrometeoroids now ensures the device in your hand remains as clear and functional as the day you bought it, a testament to durability born from the need to survive the void. The thin, shimmering sheet that warms a marathon runner at the finish line shares its DNA with a suit designed for the vacuum of space. In the void, an astronaut's greatest enemy is the lack of atmosphere itself, a perfect insulator. Their bodies can neither shed heat through convection nor effectively radiate it away, creating a dangerous risk of overheating during intense activity. Yet, in the shadow of a spacecraft or during a long spacewalk, the same body is vulnerable to a rapid, deep chill from the radiant cold of the universe. To solve this, NASA developed space blankets using a metallized plastic film that is incredibly thin, lightweight, and profoundly effective at reflecting thermal radiation. This material acts as a one-way mirror for body heat, trapping it close to the skin and creating a stable microclimate in an environment that offers no natural warmth at all. This brilliant solution for orbital survival was quickly recognized for its potential in terrestrial crises. In a disaster zone, when people are exposed to the elements after an earthquake or flood, the immediate threat is often hypothermia. Their bodies, shocked and weakened, struggle to maintain a stable core temperature. An emergency blanket, unfolded from a pouch no larger than a deck of cards, becomes an instant lifesaver. It reflects up to 90% of a person's own radiated body heat back to them, creating a crucial buffer against the cold ground and the chilling air. The same is true for an exhausted marathon runner whose body temperature plummets after crossing the finish line, or a hiker caught in a sudden mountain storm. These blankets are now ubiquitous, tucked into every serious first aid kit, carried by paramedics, and stockpiled by relief organizations. Their low cost and compact nature mean they can be deployed by the thousands, offering immediate, dignified protection to those in their most vulnerable moments. This is the quiet power of a technology transferred from the ultimate extreme to the most human of emergencies, where a sheet of plastic and aluminum becomes a shield against the cold, a direct gift from the thermal challenges of space exploration. The final frontier of agricultural innovation is now taking root without a single speck of soil. While astronauts focused on the challenge of growing food in the sterile environment of a space station, their research cultivated a revolution for farming back on our own planet. They had to create a self-contained ecosystem where plants could thrive without gravity, without natural rainfall, and under the artificial glow of spacecraft lighting. This work perfected the science of hydroponics, a method of growing plants in nutrient-rich water solutions. It also identified the precise wavelengths of light delivered by energy-efficient LED arrays that plants need most for photosynthesis, wasting no energy on the parts of the spectrum they simply reflect. These breakthroughs in controlled environment agriculture did not stay in orbit. They became the foundation for vertical farms, multi-story buildings where crops are stacked in towering, brightly lit layers. In warehouses and repurposed shipping containers, these farms operate 24 hours a day, every day of the year, completely independent of the weather outside. They use up to 95% less water than traditional field farming because the water is recirculated in a closed loop, and they require a fraction of the land, producing vastly more food per square foot. This is not a futuristic concept. It is happening right now in cities around the world, bringing fresh produce directly to urban populations. The implications for global food security are staggering. As our population grows and arable land becomes scarcer, these space-borne techniques offer a resilient, sustainable path forward. They allow for local food production in dense urban centers, reducing the environmental cost of long-distance transportation. They enable countries with harsh climates or poor soil to grow their own nutritious greens. The same research that aimed to sustain a handful of explorers on a journey to Mars is now helping to nourish millions here on Earth, proving that the quest to conquer cosmic hunger can yield a harvest that feeds us all. Looking back across these 28 inventions, a deeper pattern begins to emerge. They are not isolated accidents, but threads in a single, shimmering web of innovation. The same lightweight composite material that made a spacecraft strong enough for launch was later woven into a more comfortable prosthetic limb and then integrated into a longer-lasting tire. The digital imaging algorithms that clarified the face of the moon became the very same computational heart that powers a hospital's MRI machine, peering into the human body with the same precise clarity. This is the powerful, hidden synergy of space investment. Solving one extreme problem, like surviving re-entry or navigating to Mars, did not just produce a single, narrow answer. It generated a versatile toolkit of new materials, smarter sensors, and robust systems. These solutions then rippled outward, finding unexpected homes and purposes across the vast landscape of human need. A polymer designed for one function in the void becomes the cornerstone for a dozen different earthly comforts. This cross-pollination enriches our daily lives in ways that are both profound and beautifully mundane. The true return on the investment in reaching for the stars is not merely the knowledge we brought back, but this cascading bounty of adaptable breakthroughs that continue to reshape our world long after the rockets have fallen silent. This cascade of innovation is more than a collection of fascinating stories. It is a powerful economic engine. Every scratch-resistant lens and every portable water filter represents a new market born from cosmic necessity. These accidental spin-offs did not just appear on store shelves. They created entire industries around consumer electronics, advanced medical devices, and smart home technologies. This, in turn, generated millions of jobs, not only on the factory floor but in research labs, design studios, and sales departments, building a vibrant ecosystem of employment that spans the globe. The social impact is woven just as deeply into the fabric of our daily lives. Health outcomes have been transformed by the early disease detection made possible by space-derived imaging, saving countless lives through timely intervention. Our safety has been bolstered by smoke detectors and grooved runways, while our quality of life has been quietly elevated by memory foam mattresses and energy-efficient homes. The most profound shift is in accessibility. What was once a multi-million-dollar technology for a Mars rover is now a standard feature in a smartphone, putting cosmic levels of computational power and global navigation into the hands of billions. When we quantify these benefits, a compelling picture comes into focus. The investment in reaching beyond our atmosphere is not a departure from earthly concerns, but one of its most powerful catalysts. It forces us to solve impossible problems, and in doing so, it seeds our society with a toolkit of transformative ideas. This process of cosmic problem-solving directly fuels progress and prosperity here on Earth, proving that the quest to understand the stars is fundamentally a commitment to improving the human condition for everyone. This journey of cosmic innovation is far from over. Our next great leap into the solar system, to the dusty plains of Mars and the icy oceans of distant moons, is already forging the next generation of accidental breakthroughs. The challenges of these long-duration missions are forcing engineers to push technology into realms that once belonged to science fiction. Consider the sophisticated artificial intelligence required for a rover to navigate the treacherous landscape of another world autonomously, making split-second decisions without waiting for a command from Earth. That same advanced AI is now being adapted to analyze complex medical data, learning to identify the subtle, early signs of diseases like cancer in a medical scan, potentially leading to hyper-personalized treatment plans tailored to your unique genetic makeup. The relentless radiation of deep space has spurred the creation of new, incredibly resilient materials designed to shield astronauts on their year-long journey. These radiation-resistant composites could soon be used to build stronger, longer-lasting infrastructure here on Earth, from bridges that withstand extreme weather to buildings that endure for centuries. And perhaps most critically, the absolute need for self-sufficiency on a Martian mission is perfecting closed-loop life support systems, where every drop of water and every breath of air is endlessly recycled. This is the ultimate blueprint for sustainable cities, offering a model for urban centers to drastically reduce their water waste and carbon footprint, creating a circular economy that mirrors the fragile, efficient balance of a spacecraft. By looking ahead to the needs of interplanetary explorers, we are essentially drafting a roadmap for our own future on this planet. The research we fund to send humans farther into the cosmos will inevitably return to us, not as moon rocks, but as the very tools we need to build a healthier, safer, and more sustainable world for generations to come. The final frontier's greatest gifts may still be waiting just over the horizon. From memory foam to the GPS in your pocket, these 28 space technologies reveal a beautiful paradox. Our greatest leaps into the cosmos have consistently returned to Earth, grounding themselves in the quiet improvements of our everyday lives. Each of these stories is an accident with a purpose, a reminder that the human drive to explore does more than just expand our scientific knowledge. It generates a cascade of practical benefits that touch nearly every aspect of modern existence, from the medicine that heals us to the homes that shelter us, and even the food that nourishes us. As we reflect on these unexpected gifts, it is worth asking what the next giant leap will bring. The missions now being planned to establish a permanent presence on the Moon and to send humans to Mars are already forging the next wave of innovation. What new medical breakthroughs, what revolutionary energy solutions, what unforeseen comforts will emerge from the challenges of living among the stars? The journey of discovery is far from over, and its next chapters promise to reshape our world in ways we can only begin to imagine. If you have enjoyed this deep dive into the hidden connections between space and our daily lives, subscribe for more explorations into the mysteries of the cosmos. And we would love to hear from you. Which of these space spin-offs amazed you the most? Share your thoughts in the comments.